Dit is een podcast van Kink. Voor meer podcasts, playlists en radio, check kink.nl. Frank Stevens en Steven Gilbers. HOMEBASE.
Welkom bij een nieuwe aflevering van HOMEBASE, de hiphop podcast van Kink. Mijn naam is Steven Gilbers en zoals jullie misschien wel weten, zitten Frank en ik momenteel midden in onze zomerstop. Maar we komen graag even terug van vakantie met een speciale bonusaflevering. Vorige week kregen we namelijk de kans om te bellen met vriend van de show, J57. J57 kun je misschien kennen als onderdeel van Jamo Gang of van de Bag AllStars. Of natuurlijk van die ene podcast die wij eind vorig jaar met hem hebben gedaan, naar aanleiding van de Jamo Gang track The First Time. Samen met Deejay en Slug van Atmosphere, onze favoriete track van 2020. Voor onze radioshow HOMEBASE Radio, elke dinsdag tussen 9 en 10 op Kink Indie, belden wij vorige week met J57 over zijn nieuwe EP samen met Deejay Element, Element 57. Maar na afloop van het gesprek hadden we nog veel meer te bespreken. So without further ado, hier is de extended cut van ons gesprek met J57. Enjoy.
We want to play 2 tracks during the radio show. We were thinking about doing one first, then talk to you, and then play the second track. So if you could choose...
So basically half the EP.
Yeah. So if you could choose 2 tracks that we should play, what would your choices be?
The Sermon and Tyson Fury, I'd say.
Sermon and Tyson Fury.
I feel like that would go over the most to most people. I feel like the song easily is like, I think some people would not like that type of beat or that type of vocal thing I did, but like most people that listen to you guys and me, I feel like most of them would like those 2 songs. That was the psychology behind putting the weird song last.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh, but we got questions about the weird song because we like everything. But that's an interesting choice and an interesting vibe, and it does work. And I hate to what's the
compare
it
to other artists and stuff.
Artists
like
to other artists. Like I don't
I would
like
love you. I would
that.
love for you to do it because I can't. I have trouble comparing my stuff to other people, and I want to so I could know whose market I could try to cater to more.
Okay.
So I'd love to know.
So, like, Linkin Park did the whole thing where Mike started working with, like...
That's my idol. That's my fucking idol.
Well, it reminded me of what would have happened if Fort Minor was still rocking. It had, like, the perfect balance.
Biggest compliment I ever got in the history of my life. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then
I'm done.
Then I'm not so much ashamed. Bye. This was J57.
Biggest compliment I ever got.
Damn.
No, but I really liked it. Like,
that's my number one biggest influence as an MC is Mike Shinoda. Like, don't get me wrong, Royce. There's all like the gunner lyricists, right? But Mike Shinoda is a songwriter.
What is it about Shinoda?
This is the podcast already. This is the podcast already. I give this guy a compliment and we're already into like another conversation.
Yeah. So what is it about? What is it about Mike Shinoda that sort of inspired you that much? Then.
You know what it is, man. Everything he says means a lot. And it's not just like very, like this is not down. This is not like, I got to be careful with what I say because my favorite MCs are literally Royce, Big L, you know what I mean? Like guys who just like write the craziest shit I can't do. You know what I mean? I just can't. I can't do it. And the Mike Shinoda thing, dude, I knew I could do it because it just like resonates with me so much. Yeah. Like what he says. And a lot of it's not even relatable. Like I didn't live his life and I don't have his background or whatever. So it's not relatable, but there's something to it. Like him and Kid Cudi, those are my top 2 for like songwriting. That's just me. I'm a hybrid of them mixed in with Royce or whoever, if you will. Well, but also like Kanye because he can make beats and rhyme. You know what I mean? Like Mike Shinoda makes beats too, crazy beats. But you get what I'm saying. Like I'm from the true school, traditional boom bap, hip hop, fat beats world, and that's never gonna leave what I do. So I'm a hodgepodge of all that stuff I just mentioned, and the Mike Shinoda thing, like I never go online saying that purposely because I need to know if I'm doing it right. I want people to come to me saying that.
But what's
and
interesting,
I don't sound enough like him where it's like a bite because it's not.
No, no, it's definitely not. But it easily gave me that vibe, like, oh, this is like some sort of weird mashup of all the Fort Minor stuff mixed in with like if it would have gone on.
I mean, you've got all those intricate rhythms and rhyme schemes, and you've got the sort of, I don't want to. There's sort of this idea that complex stuff is better, and I don't agree with that. I think there's a time and a place for flexing, and there's a time and a place for just hitting someone in the gut with emotion. And I think one of the things that appeals to me about your writing is that mix, is that sort of, I mean, stuff that we talked about last time when we spoke to you about Jamo Gang and the record with you and Slug going back and forth. Well, not back and forth, I guess, but like that transition. Sort of how you play with like words and rhythms and stuff like that to make that happen. But it's also like it's not just that. It's not just art for art's sake. There's a lot of emotion that comes through, and I think that is. It's now that I've heard you say that Mike Shinoda is one of your main influences, like it makes a lot of sense how both of those worlds come together in your writing, right? Yeah. Damn.
So you don't even understand. This means so much to me because you guys are already my boys, and I already love you guys as interviewers and your show. I already love all that. So friendship aside, I think you guys are dope. But for you to even say all that and start the interview with that, thank you. Seriously, thank you. Because
I wasn't even going to put it in here because I was like, well, you don't say that shit. Like, it's not cool to be like, we could talk to James and I can tell him, but I don't want to say it during the show. Like,
it was, you know what it is? Easily was a glimpse into the future of me, of my sound. That's literally all it is. That's all it is. So I know there's going to be a lot of people who hate it that listen to it because the whole project's not catered to that fan base. I don't have that fan base.
But you recorded this in 2018-19, right? If I read the liner notes. You posted the liner notes on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
I read through it and I was like, damn, this is 3 years old.
You know what? Yeah, I went back and looked at the Pro Tools session and it turns out it was all 17 and 18. It wasn't even
17 and 18.
So I had it kind of a little bit wrong in the liner notes. I went back and opened the sessions because I wanted to like fact check myself and I was like, it's already out there. Fuck it. No one's going to care.
Hey, didn't you release like 4,000 records last year or something? People get confused. It's okay.
417 songs, not albums though.
Yeah, fair.
I was a part of. They weren't all J57. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but you had like there's your fingerprints.
Yeah, without even trying. There was no plan. It was a pandemic, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go light this year. It was the biggest year of my life release wise, and it came back full rewardingly, like on some next level shit for me.
Damn.
Yeah. So I was wondering, just to keep going on that, like the whole your love for like Mike Shinoda, Linkin Park, because you are like from that Fat Beats era.
Oh yeah.
And like people hold really like they have a real close relationship with that era. Like even I do. I went to Fat Beats Amsterdam. That's where I bought my Operation Doomsday. That's where I bought my nonfiction stuff. So there's like a really close relationship when you went to a Fat Beat store. Like I cannot imagine how it is in New York, but like in Amsterdam, that was the biggest thing there was. But last time we spoke, you were also talking about Slipknot. So where did that all get its start? Like, where did it got its start? Like, where did it connect the both worlds?
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I've been a fan of Slipknot since Wait and Bleed because that was such a big hit. It was like you couldn't not know about it in whatever year that was, 99, 2000, maybe 99.
Not gonna trust you with years, bro.
Yeah. After that, so I got into that on like because of how big it was and how dope it was, and then and then I only became friends with it's a long time now, I guess, but a decent amount. I became friends with Sid in 2016.
Yeah.
And it was I was throwing my own show at South by Southwest, and El Gant and Shabam Sadiq were on the bill. And Gant was already friends with Sid and was like, yo, can Sid be my DJ or perform or some shit? And I was like, wait, what? Wait, is this a question? Like, how are you asking me this? You know, shouts to Gant. And he brought Sid with him. Sid was his DJ on that South by like run that Gant did. Gant was doing some really big shows. He was doing a show. He did a show with like Raekwon that time. He did like a bunch of big shows. And he even came and did my little show, which actually wasn't that little. It was actually really dope. But they came and rocked it, and me and Sid hit it off immediately. He was just like the best dude. Like immediately we became friends. And I was like, yo, I'm going to LA tomorrow. I'm like, I'll see you there if you're gonna be in town. He goes, I'm going to Iowa, but here's my assistant's number. Hit him up. Use my studio. I just met him like 20 minutes before this, by the way. I'm like, what? He goes, here's my number too. Take my number too. I was like, all right. So I FaceTime him I call him when I get to LA. He FaceTimes me. He's smoking a blunt and he's like, yeah, I'm in Iowa. What's up? I'm like, oh no, I was gonna go check out your studio, but like, I don't know, man. Like, is you sure that's cool? I'll hit up your assistant. He's like, He's like, yeah, hit my assistant right now, dude. Go use the studio. So I went there and used all of his equipment, kept, made it immaculate, clean, all that. But that's how we became friends. I was like, this is a good dude. And we became boys from that, so shouts to him, man.
But you were like a fan since Wait and Bleed, like since the first...
Yeah, 16 years prior. Yeah, for 16 years I was a fan. So since that song.
Linkin Park, like what other bands were you listening to around that era? Because it was a big thing back then. Like at least it was
huge,
here.
Man. Yeah, sure. Like, back in high school, because I graduated 01. So in high school in like 97, 98, 99, things like that, I was skateboarding a lot with my friends. And one or two of my friends, we play like, the stuff around that time. Honestly, some people might laugh at what I'm going to say, but like we'd play Korn, we'd play Deftones. You can't laugh about Deftones though, but or Korn. You can't. But I'm saying they're going to laugh because they're hip hop heads that don't like shit outside of hip hop sometimes, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like you're going to laugh for me saying this, but that shit is fire. Like Korn had joints.
Yeah.
Deftones, obviously.
Yeah.
Even early Limp Bizkit before all the smash hits. Like
$3 Bill, y'all is amazing.
They were hard. Yeah, they were hard joints.
Yeah.
And we would skate with that playing, and obviously hip hop as well. It'd be Busta Rhymes. It'd be, fucking Deftones. It'd be like all over the place, man. It'd be all over the place. It'd be Del the Funky Homo Sapien. You know what I mean? Like we'd play all that kind of shit. Yeah. It was a hodgepodge. It's like how I listen to music, dude. Like in high school, I was listening to punk music just as much as I was listening to hip hop music. So, and metal as well. And, when I got to jazz later, but man, it's just like a little bit later, but like, yeah, that's kind of where it all stems from. Like, that's what I was listening to a lot of. Was my favorite MCs in high school were Del and Big L. You know what I mean? And then I would be really into Linkin Park because that came out that was like 2000-ish, right? So I was
2000,
really into that.
Yeah.
Am I talking to myself over here? Like,
I was just about to say we went on Frank and I went on a little road trip like 2 weeks ago or something, and I think you brought
Deftones, White Pony, Significant Other from Limp Bizkit, Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders.
Yeah, you basically half the stuff you just mentioned was like the CDs were in the car. So it's like
that's amazing.
This is very
but I love that. Like I still listen to that music and like I still love it. Like Deftones is such a great band, and like there is the connection with hip hop. So that's why I was interested in like hearing more about what kind of music you grew up listening to and like what makes like you the artist you are. Because you cannot tell me like all of that music. Like I really love. This is a weird thing. When I make beats, I suck at playing bass. I don't know how or why, but I hate the moment where I have to stop chopping samples and beating out drums. I cannot do bass lines, but I love bass lines. Like when I listen to like that old school, not old school, like the second generation, the Prodigy, like Fat of the Land era Prodigy. Where they had those like filthy bass lines and it's like more of the punkish style, not the rave Prodigy era, but the punk. Like I really love bass sounds and like the shit she did for like Deftones. Like I love bass, but it's the one thing I love in my metal, but I cannot use in my own beats.
Dude, I hate doing bass too. I hate it. It's hard, man. Like I could do it, but it's the hardest part. Like I get up to bass and I'd be like, I always do it last because I'm like, this is so fucking annoying.
Frank's
so annoying. That's why I like doing 808s now.
Frank hits me up every once in a while. I was like, dude, I've got this killer sample, drums. You're going to love this shit, but you got to help me finish the bass line because I can't play the bass.
If you ever want me to do some bass lines, let me know too, because like I said, I am good at it, but I don't like doing it, but it's a challenge if somebody brings it in. Like Element, he dropped a couple of projects where he had me do all the bass lines on his projects.
Damn.
And I literally would just like do like something like that's a challenge. I like a good challenge, so if you ever need that shit, let me know. But I hear what you're saying. Like that's why I go hard with the 808s now, because not that they're easier, but they're in key. Like I'm like, oh, the key of the song is C minor. I'm like, cool. I'll do a bunch of 808s that are in C minor, and that shit is, and I'll do my melody with it like a sample. Like I'm literally looking in Pro Tools. I use it like samples. Like I'm not playing it on the keys, the 808s at all. I know a lot of people do that and they're dope at it, but I sample all the 808s. I got a million 808s, different octaves, different keys. Different tempos.
Oh, that's fun. That never works for me. If I do your approach with 808s, it never works. It only works if I can play them. I don't know why. But
okay, that's how Harry Fraud is, dude. I've been in the lab with Fraud a bunch, and he literally plays the fucking piano out, and then he'll do the 808s to the piano.
Yeah.
And he's like, you don't do it like this, Jay? I'm like, I just can't. Like, I don't know. I don't hear the frequencies right, but I could do it if it's a sample.
Yeah.
If it's a sample that I'm looking at and I know it's in key, I could do it, but I can't play it. It's the weird. But bass lines I can play in key, but it's like pulling teeth to get me to do it. You know?
Awesome.
Yeah. So a while back, like I think a couple months ago, we were emailing and you were talking about like new music you were going to release, and you were like, so well, maybe that release is not gonna be like perfect for like your crowd because you are trying new things. And well, we at HOMEBASE, like we're open for everything. We play a lot of different sounds. So
Of course.
if it's up to me, everything is something for HOMEBASE. Anything you do would work during the show, except for maybe the Lord of Sleep. Like we have to talk about that thing. Like that's a whole different thing. But
Feel that.
what made you go the route that you are going now, and what keeps you like with? Because I have the idea you keep 1 foot on the ground of each side.
Yes. Well
Like,
said.
It's
I
not a
love that. I'm gonna use
drastic
that.
change.
I'm going to use that if you don't mind. I'm going to use that line. That's a really good.
It's
really good
very
line.
bad English, but thanks.
No, but it's well. All right, so I appreciate you acknowledging that too. That's really dope because I pride myself in keeping it like my hip hop, but also teetering onto into other worlds at the same time, into other worlds at the same time. Yeah, man. Like 2013, I started finally doing solo stuff. I never did solo stuff yet. I did in 2007. But I scrapped it all and started Brown Bag instead. I didn't have the balls to do the solo thing yet. I was in a group before that, TNK, Kill World, and that's the homies. And we kind of just started doing our own separate shit. And I started doing J Logic. I wasn't J57 yet. I was doing J Logic shit, summer 2007. And I was like, I knew I wasn't ready for it. It wasn't that I wasn't good. I just knew I wasn't ready for it because I had nothing to talk about. I was good in a group dynamic. And so I'm down with Audible Doctor, all the, Brown Bag. I'm like, yo, come to my session. Let me feature like 50 people on every song just for fun. And those songs became the first tape. And like, that's how it started at least. And you fast forward to 2013 and that's when, I don't know, I got really influenced by Jay Electronica. I really loved him on the drumless stuff. I know Ghostface was the first to do that with the song Fish, I believe, and like other things. I know Ghostface started the drumless shit in the 90s, but Jay Electronica's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind freestyle,
just a loop, no drums. Yeah. Just
beautiful. Take the John Bryan score and raps over it, and I was just like, it just touched me in a way in my heart. Yeah. And I was like, mentally, I was just into it, and I was like, yo, that makes me want to rhyme, and it makes me want to do shit. So if you listen to my first album that came out in 2016, there's some moments of that, and a lot of that shit was from 2013, and even shit that's coming out in the next couple of years, some of it is from 2013, believe it or not, written and recorded later on. But like I hit my stride with that 2013 shit. Yeah. Like that's what made me want to. So then 2014, my first project came out, Wax Aesthetic. I did only 1 out of the 4 beats to show that I could stand on my own and I didn't, that kind of thing. But I featured mad people, so I did it wrong. And in retrospect, but like I didn't have anything to say yet, really. The only song I produced was a song called Everybody's Gotta Live. And that was the only song I had something on. Everything else was rapidy rap. I was trying to be Royce. I was trying to be this guy, all my idols that I can't get on their level if I tried, but maybe I could come close sometimes, but like, in certain ways, but like it just wasn't from the heart. It was contrived a little bit. It was good. I want people to go back and listen. It was good. But the only song that is still really popular from that to people that listen to me is Everybody's Gotta Live, where it wasn't supposed to even be a song. It was like, I had the studio until a certain amount of time. I didn't have my own studio yet. And I was like, oh, I got like a half hour. Let me just take some rhymes out of my notebook and loop up that one old soul song I liked, soul, like psych rock or whatever it was, really. And I just did some like snaps, claps, hey, with reverb, started my whole style doing that. I was the first one to ever do that in fucking hip hop. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was because I listen to folk music. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was the only thing that came from the heart. And then when it came out, everybody was like, this song's crazy. I was like, all right, maybe I'm onto something. And I'm like, but I was like, not ready yet. And then time goes by and I'm like, holy shit, all I got to do is really just take all the music I really love that really, really like hits me and hodgepodge that into like its own little world and then talk about shit I know, and don't do things like 2006 we signed to Fat Beats. We signed Black Milk. He came out in 2007, but in 2006 we signed him, and I knew that because I worked at the store. So the higher ups from the headquarters in Brooklyn would come to the store in Manhattan and be like, "We just signed this kid. He's from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? He's da 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 da, and he's dope." So I remember being like, "Damn," and he's my age, by the way. So I was like exact same age. So I was like being like, "Damn, I got to do some shit like that." And I tried doing it by myself, and I'm like, I was embarrassed. I was like, I can't, because Black Milk is Black Milk. Why the fuck would I try to be somebody else?
Yeah.
And that's when I started to, you know what I mean? So fast forward all those years, the reason it's making sense is because it's really all from the heart. And it's beyond me at this point, dude. I'm an antenna. I let that shit come to me. I'm writing shit down for sure. I'm freestyling a lot of stuff little by little because it's all from the damn heart. Like I scat. I'll just like put on a beat and I'll put on headphones and scat no words. Like just sounds like they do in pop music.
It's the
like
flow.
Pop writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll write. I've been doing that for years now. And I write to that shit. And sometimes I say words in there and that becomes the song. You know what I mean?
So this makes sense to me, like the whole story we've been going through now, like you talking about your love for like the metal music and the hip hop music and all the sorts of different artists you have been listening to. It doesn't sound like you overthink it when you make it. It's not like there's a big plan behind it. It's just, like you said, it's coming from the soul, it's coming from the heart. This is what it is. So I can imagine you can make like a real boom bap-ish track, like 1 minute, and then keep working on another project, and it sounds like way different. When you release it, is that where the
strategy comes in? Or?
Yeah, strategy. That's a good word. Where the strategy comes in, is that where you, because you said like that song is from 2013, that's from 16.
Yep.
Like, is that where the strategy comes in?
This is the best interview of my life, guys. I just want to tell you. I get to talk about all the shit I always want to tell people, but I don't want to bring it up. It's
and
we
just happen to bring it up? Is that it?
Yeah. Always. You guys continuously bring up all my favorite shit. I really did. I do everything strategically. Every fucking thing. So it's like 2018 and 19 is when I made that. 17 and 18 when I did the shit with Element. We sat on it for a minute, and I was like, that one could have came out around then too. But I was like, Jamo Gang's going to be big for me. Let's drop that after so we could ride that wave a little something, right? But then when Jamo Gang came out, I was like, oh, it's still not ready. It's not time yet. It just didn't feel right. You know what I mean? But like, I know it has to come out now-ish. You know what I mean? I know my boom bap stuff needs to come out now, and I have a lot of that. Tens of projects done, albums done, my own solo-wise and also collaboratively as well. So it's like, I'm dropping all the boom bappy stuff now. You know what I mean? On purpose. And all the bigger sounding stuff that people who like me now don't get me wrong, dude, I might be wrong, and like 75% of them may love everything. Yeah. But my gut's telling me maybe half will, and the other half is gonna be like, I don't like that. He's doing this now, he's doing that. Because you know why I know how the people think? Because I worked at Fat Beats for 6 years. So I saw the demographic. I saw people from different like all over the world, different countries were coming in, different races, different every ages. For 6 years, and I was the guy behind the counter selling them records. So I see you say you came in, either you have a stack of records. I'm like, oh, he's buying. Let's just say this. Oh, Necro, Nonfiction, Ill Bill, Gore-Tex. Okay, cool. I get it. Sabak. Yeah, he's into that shit. Yeah. Totally get it. Understood. Oh, he's buying. People come in. Where's your DJ Premier section? Oh, it's right there. I'm taking everything. They buy one of everything, bring it up to the count. Like, I saw how that shit worked. And then I see some people, and I don't want to say names because there's some really dope producers that did this, but some people, they give you this forever, and then they change it to this, and it's so different. They make like a whole different, like electronic or something. Yeah. And 100% of the time, the Fat Beats demographic would come in and be like, yeah, he lost me. I'm not a fan anymore. I love the old shit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? But he's just trying something different. But like, people don't get that because they're not them.
It's funny. You've got like what, like all these DSPs like Spotify, Apple Music, what they're killing for is figuring out this algorithm that understands completely what this one person likes so they can suggest the right stuff. Yeah, you had that 6 years worth of standing behind the counter experience of just that, but for your sort of demographic. That is brilliant. I'm thinking
It's not a FYI, right? That's a record store, like, I think in America.
Oh, FYE. Yeah,
FYE.
like FYE's
Like, yeah.
random store. Like they have random stuff. You're
Like,
right.
Yeah, it's not like you weren't
specified.
working at something like that. You were working at Fat Beats.
Dude,
So
Fat Beats. Like I had to earn my stripes to even be allowed to even intern, let alone I got hired. Like that was scary, dude.
Yeah, that's something else.
Big deal, you know? Like a little dude from Long Island originally, you know?
But it's fun because you're like sitting on these records, right? Like, because like this one is like 2017, 2018, but you, like 2014 is what you mentioned. There's a sort of it's that doing that, sitting on those records is like a testament to the confidence that you have in
And a testament
the sort
to
of
the quality.
Yeah, but like to the timelessness of it, right?
Yeah.
Because
Thank you.
like
That's my
let's
key.
put it this way: if you're
key
riding a wave, well, let's say you're riding the autotune wave or something, or you're riding the trap wave, or you're riding the mumble rap wave, or whatever wave it is, right?
Right.
Like if you miss your window, those tracks are worthless, right?
Nailed
and that
it.
window could be like 6 months, could be less,
Yeah.
right?
Could
Could be
probably
like a
less.
TikTok meme and you jump on it, but if you like postpone the mixing and mastering, and by the time it's done, like it's over,
Exactly.
that's a risk. So it suggests that you're not in the studio chasing a wave, but you're just creating. And I think that
100%.
is, there's instances of people riding a wave and it comes out beautifully, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, there's a reason something becomes a wave, but
Yeah.
how do you judge the timelessness of a recording? How do you feel confident enough to have a song be like, this is fire, I'm going to sit on this for 6 fucking years.
Yo,
And that's a
it's
good idea. How do you do that?
the best interview, man. These are the best questions. All right. It's honestly beyond me at this point. It's some God type thing where I have that gift, right? Where I can, come on, look at my track record. I worked with a lot of people before they were big. Joey Badass, Action Bronson. Dude, the list is insane. That's just 2 people from it. The list is insane. I could always tell Soulcon, bro. I knew Soulcon was going to be what he became. I knew it.
Yeah.
Nobody on the planet knew who the fuck that was. I'm sitting there, Bronson's in my studio. I'm like, show me your MySpace. He had 300 total plays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're dope. You're going to be big. Like, years later he was. I know that shit. So I can't fool myself. I'm lucky that that's why I say it's God's involved. I'm not a religious guy. I'm spiritual. But I know God is involved because it's like I have that gift where it's like a radar. So I know my own stuff.
Yeah.
So I know how to strategize what goes where, when it comes out, what demographic, what features to get, because I know that fan base would like what I do. I can't. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
what is Jay Electronica? Better in Tune with the Infinite. I think he has a song.
Oh, yeah,
I always
yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yes,
because
I
I'm
have that
not
song.
religious at all, but I always like that sort of, I don't know, the phrasing of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So-
and it's real, dude.
But okay, so what are the tracks that you're like, okay, this is dope, but I gotta drop this within a year because otherwise it's gonna be pointless? Do you have that, or is it just all timeless shit?
All right, so what I'm doing, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going through my stuff, and I could tell everything I do is timeless now, and it's only because that's what I strive for.
Yeah,
I strive for the timelessness, and I don't. I do have a couple of joints that are a little timely in a way, but I flip them in a way where it's timeless, and it could come out a little later, and I'm not gonna be, because you know what it is, man. I don't ride the wave, I make the wave.
yeah,
I'm not saying I make waves for everyone, but bro, come on. Like, I was a part of the early Griselda sound. Like,
yeah,
that first track, that's like the first slow beat that Wes rapped on.
yeah.
You listen to Hitler 1, he didn't do slow beats. Listen to Hitler 2, I did the first joint. That was the first song recorded for the project, and it was a slow beat.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Derringer wasn't doing that at the time. That's my boy. He told me. He's like, yeah, I was doing like primo tempo beats back then. Wes had the vision. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I'm down, and Wes heard my beat. He took my batch and was like, you know, we had lunch and met and all that, and he was like, yo, give me beats or whatever. And he picked the slow beat. I gave him like, I don't know, I could probably find the old batch. Let's say I sent him 20 beats, 10 beats, whatever. And again, he was virtually unknown.
Yeah.
I just thought he was dope, and we had a mutual friend. And he picked the one slow beat that was 70 BPM that nobody in Brooklyn was doing, I don't think at the time. I'm sure kids were doing trap shit, but I was like, how do I make a boom bap beat sound like the South, right?
Yeah.
Go figure, right? So that's the shit I'm on, dude. I don't want to do what people are doing. I don't want to do what anybody's doing. I've had other artists who are dope be like, yo, cool beats, but you got any trap? And I'm telling you, these are artists you would never want to hear them on a trap beat. They would probably sound okay, but you would never want to hear them on it because they're going to do what everybody else is doing. You're going to hear the flows that Drake did. You're going to hear the flow that this, like, I don't want that, yo. I don't want them to be like, that's what Jay-Z did. He's doing that Jay-Z flow.
I think that for Frank and myself, I think that one of our biggest pet peeves is type beats, like Alchemist type beat, Metro Boomin type beat. Like, fuck off with your type beats. Make your own type beat, you know?
Exactly.
But I think it's not only that. It's not only that. It's like being disrespectful to your own piece of art that you put out in this world. Like, you made a beat, you put it out there, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna put Madlib's face on it and say it's a Lord Quas type beat. Like, no, that's not.
I think if you're
weird.
doing that, you're not looking at it like your piece of art. You're looking at it like you're producing, like it's a factory and you're producing just something. It's just an exchange of goods for money, like kind of like you're not approaching it to like reach true quality, true timelessness, to, you know?
No, it's just production like in a factory.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like,
it's just like you keep churning them out. It's just that.
I want nothing to do with that. I'd rather die than do that. I'd rather die. I'd rather be broke, homeless. I swear to God, I would. Yeah. I wouldn't want to do anything I don't want to do musically.
So I was
nobody can tell me what to do either.
I feel
wondering to go back to what we were talking about. I'm pretty sure you're gonna say yes because I cannot imagine this never happened. But are there any tracks that you have in your vault where you are like, you know what? I missed the bus stop. I should have dropped that like 2 years ago, but I didn't do it. So maybe when everything goes like round, like everything goes round in circles. Like maybe when we go back to that era and it's like retro again.
Yeah, what is retro?
I can drop that one.
Yeah, beat wise, I do instrumentally, not song wise, but beat wise for sure.
Yeah,
there's so many beats that like people pick now for me where I'm like, that's from 08.
Yeah,
just so you know, blah blah blah. Like just giving a little backstory and like, oh, that's a 07 beat, that's a 06 beat. But like people didn't fuck with me like that back then that hard, so they weren't taking those beats from me when I was shopping them to them and whatever else. So they just sat on hard drives. And then when I got in demand in some little capacity, they wanted the brown bag sound, which wasn't those beats as much.
No,
and but yeah, that's kind of like the lo-fi thing that's in right now, whatever. And that shit is dope. But like, I got those beats in the thousands, literally. I have thousands of those beats laying around that aren't even touched or heard by anybody. And that's just what it is. It's just from me so many beats a day for so many years. But yeah, that's what it is. Now it came back full circle. Yeah.
So what is your process like when you go to the studio, when you go like, what's the first thing you do? Like, do you get motivated by listening to other people? Like yesterday, I had one of those days. I bought the Baker's Dozen record with like the whole collection. So not the separate producers, but just the big one with Madlib, Damu the Fudge Monk, Flow Fails. And I was listening to that, and like the Onra one. Like, I need to play that for you. Oh. It's called Silk, and it has the same sample as one of our favorite tracks from last year, like one of those R&B tracks.
Oh, shit.
I love it. But I was listening to that, and I was like, you know what? I need to make beats tonight. But that's not always the way it works. So what motivates you? What is it like, I'm going to the studio, so I'm going to do this? Or is it more like a spur-of-the-moment thing?
Yeah, okay. Well, it used to be exactly what you said. I used to exactly do that to the T, like where I'd be like, oh, I heard a Knots beat, and Knots is one of my favorite producers. I'm like, let me make something just like it. But then I started getting to the point where I got too good at that, and people that I was friends with, I'd play them beats, and they'd be like, this sounds so much like the blah, blah, blah beat. This one sounds so much, which is a gift. I'm lucky to have that I was nailing it too much. But then I was like, oh shit, I gotta stop doing that. Like, yo, that's a little risky business right there. Yeah. So I had to stop doing that. And instead, I started getting influenced by other genres mostly. I'm still influenced by hip hop all fucking day, but I can't because I'll end up emulating it too much to the point where it sounds identical. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm as good. I'm just saying it sounds identical as a knockoff, you know? So I can't actually do that anymore. And then I'll listen to Radiohead or some other shit, and I'll be like, it's just something about these vibes and these sounds I'm hearing, and that I won't even really try to emulate what I'm hearing. It's just something about, like, even and that's the feeling I got from listening to Jay Electronica in 2013, where it was like, I don't want to sound like him or do exactly what he does, but there's something in the sounds and and Mike Shinoda as well, and the emotion and the lyrics and the voice. I'm like, that's what I'm about. And I don't like look down on anybody who isn't into that shit, but that's just, my workflow is I listen to a lot of dope music that gets me off, if you will, and like gets me inspired. And if it doesn't, then I'm bored. I get so bored, you know what I mean? Like by music, I get really bored. I'm not a snob. I'm not jaded. I'm just really like hard to please. Music shit, dude. I mean, so when I like somebody's shit, I always tell them. I always go out of my way to tell them too. For people like us three, I guess, like music is such a big part of your day to day. Like it's like music is it's all the time, everywhere, nonstop, you know. And it's like it's very easy to get bored by something, but then that moment that something sparks that is magic. That's why you keep listening even when you're bored, sort of, because you're looking for that spark, I guess.
Yeah, but that spark comes from different places.
Yeah.
Like yesterday it was the Baker's Dozen record. I was like, you know what? I hear all these people making beats. I want to make beats again. I wasn't doing it for a long time. And I was like, you know what? I just want to fuck up a sample, chop it up, throw it around, reverse it, do whatever the fuck to it, put a nice drum under it. Like, I just wanted to do that. Get a bottle of wine, sit in our office, make some beats. But on some other days, it could be like, like music related, going digging in a record store and just feeling vinyl and being like, you know what, I need to work on something. But it could also be a movie. It could also be like a tired day of working and being like, you know what, if there's one thing I can do tonight, like there are two options: watch a movie or go make some beats. Like sometimes I will be laying on the bed, like watching Netflix on my iPad, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna, like, I have 10 minutes before I want to go to sleep. Let's kick open Koala, chop up a sample. There's like 2 hours later, and I'm like, yo, Steven, listen to what I'm doing. Like sending him like screenshots on WhatsApp. That's
the best. Yo, that's the best mentality, because that's what I do every single day. Exactly that. I trick myself into little deadlines. Yeah. So that, and not deadlines, but like little windows of time. Because otherwise, if you sit there with a blank canvas for the whole day, you're like, oh, I have this whole day allocated to make music. Yeah. It could be daunting. It could be a little bit of pressure to people, even if you're good at what you do or not. Like it really could be. So like, I'm like, okay, I wake up, I meditate, I do my gratitude, you know, I do all that kind of stuff first before I do anything. And then I'm like, and I'll take care of my dog, whatever, you know, like just things like that. And then I'll be like right in the studio, you know, right in there. And if I feel it, there's really some days where I sit down right here, I turn on the monitors, I turn on everything. I sit here, I turn on the, you know, the computer and everything. I look at the screen and I literally go, not today. I get up and I turn it all off and I go and do regular shit.
Yeah.
There's that happens once in a while. And I don't like those days while they're happening, but I'm glad they happen because I know that I'm not going to do anything forced. You know what I mean?
So how does it work with lyrics? Because you just sort of described your process, Frank, with how sort of producing comes up. But when I write lyrics, sometimes it's just like a cool phrase or something that I read or hear, or like, and you're like, oh shit, I can rhyme so much with this. And then it sort of starts going and a story starts developing. How does that work for you when you write your lyrics? Because like how we described it just now seems more geared towards the production side of it, the sonics, not so much the content. How do you get words? I read in your in the liner notes that sort of you heard the beat for the final track and you just started singing easily. Like how does that? How would you reflect on that process of the words coming to you?
Man, that's why it's so hard sometimes for me to write, because it takes so much. It takes like everything out of me. Like I really am exhausted. But with beats, I could literally just be here, put my feet up, or like laying in bed doing the koala thing about like that shit. Like with my laptop on me, making beat. Like for some reason, beats, they don't take energy out of me at all in the slightest. They're actually very meditative, where I don't even realize I'm doing it until I notice myself doing it. I meditatively breathe sometimes while making beats, like real deep, where people around me are like, yo, what's wrong? Because they hear me being like, they hear that and they think something's wrong. So they hear the blowing out of it. I don't even realize I'm doing it because it's so meditative. But lyrics are the opposite. Lyrics are like the most like thought-provoking shit for me. So like where I don't zone out. It's not a feeling. It's more of like from the soul, so, like on some lyric shit. So like I actually, like I said, I scat a lot of times where like I say like like things that aren't words, and which I would never even do I can't even do an imitation of on camera. It's probably way too embarrassing, but like I'll do that. I'll play it back, and if there's words in there, I'll write to it. Or like I said, when the Easily beat, Element sent me a pack, and I'm listening to. I mean, I have all Element's beats. I have like all his beats ever he's ever made, honestly. And at that time, he sent me a pack, and I heard that one. I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't do it. Nope. I heard the drums. I'm like, no, I can't. I should not do this. I should not do this. There's tens of thousands of people who would totally agree. There's probably hundreds of thousands who would love it that don't like boom bap. But I'm like, that's not who listens to me right now, and I know what I'm doing. But so I sat with it for a second, then I'm like, why the fuck am I gonna live with limits? I don't like that. I don't like limits. I don't like limitations on things. Let me do it. Let me just fucking try it. And that Easily lyric just started popping out. I really, like I said in the liner notes, maybe it's from the Red Hot Chili Peppers song, which isn't even like my favorite song by them, but maybe that's what it comes from. But like, I don't know why I just did that. And then I was like, oh, maybe I could talk about how we do this easily. Like we do this. Yeah. I could do this shit for fun. I could do this style like for real, but I don't do it. Like that's kind of like the vibe. Like I do this, you know what I mean? But like lyrically, I don't hear somebody and say I want to. I keep bringing up Royce because he's probably like the most that gets me motivated to write if I listen to him. And it's the right song and the right project from him and things like that, where I'm like, just like, not even how do you do it, but like, it's like, it makes me want to fucking write. I don't sit there trying to be like him. I did do that on some of the like 2011-ish brown bag stuff. People didn't catch on, but that's probably why they also thought I was getting better, because I was like imitating Royce. But like, like the song Red Committed Murder, that was like, I freestyled the entire thing line by line, trying to tap into how Royce is. You know what I mean? Wow. Literally. That was the first thing I ever did where I didn't write anything down on paper. And it was like that. But like, yeah, seriously, it kind of just has to come to me, man. Like I'll listen to stuff. What's the subject matter, the song? That's why I do so much solo stuff now, because it's like, they're not subject songs where it's like, this song is only about this. They're like themes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but then I also have a crazy bank in my notepad on my phone of lyrics, like lines, words, like special words, that you can only use once, things like that, or even just rhyme schemes, like little things like that. So then
what's a special word that you can only use once? You're like,
because if you use a special word more than once, dude, people are gonna notice that. You get what I mean? You can't use it twice on the same project. It's illegal.
I want to ask you now, like, okay, you don't have to give us a word that you haven't used yet.
Okay.
Yeah, don't ruin it for yourself. But what is
a word?
Yeah.
In that,
I'll tell you right now,
bank that you've used, which was like that, I can only use that once.
Got to make this one count.
So I'm looking at my bank right now. Tibetan Sky Funeral. I don't think I'm ever going to use that.
But it makes so much sense. If you use that a second time, it's like, I've heard that before.
Oh, wait, that's the Tibetan Sky Funeral guy.
That's too unique to repeat.
I was watching some show. I was watching the show, and that was said, and I wrote it down. I'm like, see, that's how it is, man. It's you throw enough against the wall, something's going to stick. Yeah. And with this lyric shit, so it's like, I'm watching a show, and at the time I was like, that's so... I couldn't even tell if it was good or bad for a lyric. I'm like, I'm teetering towards it's probably not cool and might be corny, but like, let me just write it, because maybe later on when I'm in that process, maybe I'll be like hearing a beat and I'm like looking through my pad and like coming up with ideas and writing shit down. And I haven't gotten up to that yet, but like, I know I'm never going to use it. It'll probably just sit there forever. I'll probably delete it in a year and be like, I'm never going to use this. Or it might fucking somehow work. Probably won't. But you get what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. And like my man, like Razkaz has a project coming out with a really dope producer. I don't want to say who it is because they haven't announced it yet, but he featured Jamo Gang on a song. So he got me and Gaunt to rap on it as well.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh damn, this is gonna be a big project. Like I gotta come correct. So I dropped everything that day and I played the beat on loop for a little bit. I'm going through my notepad and I'm like freestyling shit to these words and ideas written down. And then, like I said, I'll get on the mic and scat stuff. Sometimes I'll try it out. I'll just like have the words there and I'm just like freestyling. And I'm like, Tibetan Sky Funeral, like whatever the fuck. I'm not gonna say that in a verse, I promise everybody. But that's kind of how I do it, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of just feeling it out and trying to have the cadence and the rhythm down properly. Not like I don't like to each his own. I don't like to write and then spit the verses to stuff later. I know some really dope artists who do that so well, but it just doesn't work for me with my, I don't know, my rhythm. I like to have it I guess the producer side, like I like to be really rhythmic with the shit. So like that's why I scat first, because if you do that, you're hugging the drums and the tempo so perfectly. Never too many syllable situation. No. You get what I mean? Yeah. Ever. There's never. You can't, because
it's like, unlikely to clash too. Even if it like technically fits, you know, like there's like lyrics that I've written myself, and I'm like, oh, this will be perfect for this beat, and then you try it, and you're like, not really, because there's something like I'd have to redo half the beat to make this work, or half the lyrics to make this work, because it just clashes or something. Yeah, I learned that too. I had the same thing. I went through the same thing. That's what made me stop doing it. Yeah. And again, to each his own. Everybody's different, man. Like I'm in here with people who come in, like these, like the younger homies. They come and stay with me for a couple of days. They have notepads full of songs written. I'm like, here's my playlist. There's 72 beats in there, or 71 beats were in there at the time. Go through it and just pick out a bunch, drag them onto the desktop, and then picked out 40 of them. Now he's got the song. Yo, Jay, run through them. I'm hitting play. No, go to the next one. Go to the next one. Okay, cool. Yo, and he starts spitting, and the whole room just like lights up. The whole room is like, yo, record that right now. And then dude gets in the booth. I'm sitting here recording him, and like that's magic. You know what I mean? Mash as well. Yeah,
that works. I'm not that guy. I don't do that. No. It's not my thing. But like, damn, it's cool when you see it. It's pretty dope when you see people do that though.
So from what you're saying, I take it that you feel like production is your comfort zone, and that is where you feel safe. That is where you relax. That is the meditation, right? Yeah. You also mentioned that earlier on in your career, you were like honing your skills, but you didn't feel like you had anything to say. And it's funny because like you keep saying that what we say resonates with you, but what you're saying really resonates with me as a writer myself. Like for years, I think I've written and I've learned how to, like, I've learned the tools, like I expanded the tool belt, but I didn't have something to hammer on. This is the worst metaphor I've ever made.
But I get what you're saying.
This is like a Frank like metaphor. This is more like you.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Okay.
But like there's so for me quite recently it was like all of a sudden that I sort of, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but I was like I've sort of found my voice in a way. Yeah, like I found the direction that I need to go in. When was that moment for you? Like, what was it that, cause you can't tell me that right now you didn't find that. Cause like that makes no sense with the output. Like there's no,
right. Cause dude, like I said, I wanted to be this guy. I wanted to be that guy. I stopped, like, I had to stop doing that. It wasn't from the heart. And it was, I found my voice when I tapped into, I think it was the Everybody's Gotta Live song. I made that on my mom's birthday in 2013, April 22nd, 2013. Only remember because it's my mom's birthday, you know? Mm-hmm. And I literally didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to make that song. I was embarrassed and didn't show people the song. I even have a fake skit at the end of the song where I made it sound like another person was in the room with me laughing to make it look like the song was a joke, so that no one, to negate any corniness of it. Because of how deep I was in the boom bap and the brown bag world and this and that, where that shit was like frowned upon. I actually did that to not validate, but like to save myself from ridicule. Yeah. Mentally and output wise. Wow. And again, it turned out to be like, it's still one of my top songs on fucking Spotify to this day. That shit's almost 10 years old, and it was literally like not even supposed to happen, and it was like scary as fuck to show anybody that song. And that was all from the heart. The shit I'm talking about is from the heart. Like, it's almost like a poem. You know what I mean? It's not.
So that's you at your most vulnerable then. Like that's like, and that's what makes you put that skit in, because
I made a fake skit. It's literally me being two different people at the end, making it sound like me and a friend are laughing, so that people hear it and be like, oh, they just did it for fun. Yeah. There's multiple people. It's not just Jay. It's not all on him. He has a room full of people agreeing. Maybe it's brown bag. Maybe it's like the way people think. I know the psychology, you know what I mean, of how people think, and with all this kind of shit. And like, so I got to cater to that. So that's what I did at the time. You know, younger me, scared to do that, whatever. Everything I'm doing now is like vulnerable as fuck. All the stuff I'm saying, like when you hear the shit that comes out next year and the year after that, like you're gonna really fucking know me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm doing it so people could either relate to it or it's escapism. If you can't relate to the anxiety that I have day to day and deal with and know how to deal with now at an older age, you know, now in my late 30s, I know how to deal with this shit. Like, I didn't even know I had anxiety until a few years ago. I didn't even know. I thought everybody else felt like I felt. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't understand that. So I have songs now about it. That's why I like Kid Cudi so much, because he has a lot of the shit that I have. So I fucking dig what he says. You can feel the pain even if he's not saying it directly. You can feel it. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you do. Not all the time, but sometimes you really do. And I want to give that to people. I want to have to give them that escapism or something to relate to.
Yeah, I'm really glad you found that, because I think that's the moment when I decided to quit rapping and only make beats. Because I feel like when I make a beat, there's one track that we sent you where Steven is rapping over a beat of mine, the deep end, and like
that shit was dope.
Thank you. The musical part was just like, I felt sort of ashamed about it, because it was like, yeah, it's just a basic like thing happening, and I was just fucking around with a sample, and it sounded so chaotic and distorted and weird. And when I was playing it over it, and I even tried to chop it up to make it fit, and I was like, no, it needs to be that chaotic weirdness. It needs to be the guitar solo that gets cut off like that.
Yeah,
because
I dug that. I thought it was interesting.
I think you even you wanted to fix one like tiny little
one of the keys I hit.
You cannot fix that.
It's not. No. It's not like it isn't on the drop. And he was like, no, you need to keep it crooked. I was like, no.
Man. You got to.
That's my way of like, yeah, I can say it. Like I cried while listening to that instrumental myself, because that's the most vulnerable I can get in music.
Yes.
I quit rapping
that,
because I cannot do that. Like the one person that motivated me, where I was like, you know what, I want to do that. That was also the moment when I decided, no, I need to quit rapping because I cannot copy that what he is doing. And that was Cage when he did Hell's Winter and the Depart From Me stuff. I was like, how can an MC be so vulnerable and talk about all these traumas and talk about like girls almost in a scary stalky way? Like he's talking about stalking girls, but it was like so you believed him. And I was like,
so honest.
If I cannot be that honest while writing my lyrics, I have no business in doing that. And that's what I found in beats. So I'm really glad that like you found that perfect balance of doing both, of like putting that into beats and putting that into lyrics, because I think there's only a handful of people who really get in that position where they have both.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing that, man. That's really fucking cool. And dude, I'm gonna keep it a buck, dude. I've cried after hearing back a beat a couple of times. And then with lyrics, I'm on that shit every day. I'm here with a box of Kleenex crying. No. Seriously, I've probably done it in the past 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times.
Okay, so question, and like this
is
what I like.
Is that deep?
Yeah,
it's that deep.
Yeah. But this is what I like about talking to you, because it doesn't feel like an interview. We're just like shooting the shit, and
oh yeah, we're homies at this point. Come on.
Like, what effect does it have on you when there's one EP I made like way back in the days when I was still smoking weed, and I quit after that. And one of our closest friends, Gino, he was listening to that, and he was dealing with certain things, and he was like, wow, this matches my inner struggles perfectly.
Wow.
So how is it for you when people have a totally different connection to something you've made in a totally different mind state?
Yeah.
Like, how are you able to deal with that? Because I can imagine, like, we were telling you with the first time, like, that's our cup of coffee in the morning. Like, like we get hyped up about that shit, but it could be, like, something that for you has a totally different meaning. Is that something you struggle with, or is that something that you can appreciate?
I could appreciate it. I could appreciate it. It's like, it doesn't happen that often right now, but, like, I think in the future, because of the stuff I'm creating now that's going to come out in the future, because I don't tend to make the music, drop it immediately. I only did that once solo-wise, and that was Antisocial Media.
Yeah.
I made that at the end of December 2018, dropped it like on my birthday, February 6, 2019. So that's the only time I ever did that. Otherwise, I don't show my cards. I keep my cards, You know, you don't see what I got. You know what I mean? On purpose. And which is pretty cool to do, by the way. I highly recommend that to anybody because it takes away pressure. It also makes you as creative as you can be without any fucking like, no, I got to do this. I got to match that level of shit. Like, that shit sucks. I've seen people deal with it. That's why I don't do it. But getting back to what you're saying, really built off of what I've said as well, is like, dude, I think in the future I'm going to get that a lot because of how deep the shit is that I'm saying now. It's not going to alienate people. Like, there's not going to be people who listen to it that are like, I don't have a shred of anxiety. I don't feel any of the shit Jay feels. I can't listen to any of his music. No, there's not. It's not all like that. It's like there's a lot of relatable stuff. There's a lot of stuff. There's about a song about one of my best friends who passed away almost 10 years ago, and he was my mentor, taught me how to rhyme and everything. My man Ports. There's a song about him. I wrote in 2013. Didn't have the balls to record it till his birthday, November 17th, 2018, and I brought in a string section a year ago on it. Not even end of last year, and now I'm getting the hook written and recorded by somebody very special to him to sing the hook. So like, you get what I'm saying? That shit is about my man that they didn't know, but somebody could relate being like, yo, I lost one of my best friends too. Yeah. Even if I'm saying shit that is really, really specific, they're going to take it and feel it in a different way. And they come back and be like, yo, your song about Ports reminds me of my friend, blah, 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 who I don't know. And I may not ever know about or whatever outside of that conversation. But like, that's just an example of one thing that I know for a fact I'm going to get. And I'm kind of excited for it because that's Ports' legacy lives on and their friend lives on through that as well. And that's what the point of that song is. That's all it is. It was also a therapeutic thing for me. Yeah. Like, let's call it what it is. That's why I did it. It was before I started even going to therapy and shit like that, you know, when I wrote it. But it's like, with which I love therapy and talking about it because it's just the best way to get everything out. And then you're like, oh, I feel free. Cool. Let me go fucking have a clear head and make music at the highest level I can make now because there's nothing clouding it. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I think I have a lot of songs and a lot of ideas that people are going to take it for what it is. But then, like you said, they're going to take it for another. Yeah, they'll bring another reason. It's cool with me. I'm about it. I think it's dope. Yeah.
But if you're, as a producer and you're handing out, or, well, I mean, you're giving other rappers beats. Oh. Like, then the emotion that you put in the instrumental is going to be sort of reinterpreted by the MC on it, right? Like that song Frank just talked about, The Deep End, and sort of when I heard that, it hit me in the gut as well, and I started writing about a personal situation of mine.
Totally different than
totally
my situation
different than you, but it sort of connected, even because what happens is that you sort of, what I think happens is that you sort of get to the essence of that emotion, and I think it is that essence is universal, right? So it's like just like you said about that story about your friend that passed away. Like, sure, I mean I haven't heard it, but if it was about like playing ball or something, it doesn't matter if somebody else never played ball, you know. Right. But but the essence of the emotion in there, regardless of like the literal meaning of the lyrics, I think that is what people latch onto. That is what we see when we make music together. But I imagine you see this a lot, considering how many beats you produce and how many rappers you've got on your productions, right? How does that?
Well, to be very blunt with it, I don't try to ruin your question, but
I think you know where
is it like someone stealing your idea? Like, no, that's not what it was meant for. Like, is it like that? I
hear you saying.
Or can you let it go and be like, you know what? That's your interpretation of this, and I actually like it.
That's a really good question. I don't recall, like, I don't remember that happening. I only remember the opposite, where people blow me away, where I'm like, didn't expect that from them. Holy shit, this song is crazy. And then you see me just going hard about that song and whatever, because it touched me in a way where I'm like, yo, that's fucking dope. You made me a part of something crazy. Like, that happens kind of a lot, actually. And I'm happy for that. It means I'm working with good artists. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I don't recall the opposite, where like I give somebody a really, like, let's say emotional beat, and then they're just rapping on it. I don't recall that happening. I'm sure it has. It had to have. The odds are there.
The odds are, yeah.
I just don't remember it. I don't remember that happening. I really don't. But again, had to have. It had to have, you know what I mean? But the greatest little present is when I'll send it off to somebody and they send me back a really crazy song, like maybe some deep shit, or maybe just like their best lyricism, whatever. And then it's like, whoa, you brought this shit to another level. That's usually when I'll use that phrase. You brought that shit to another level. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, which is cool. And it doesn't mean I don't like somebody's shit if they didn't bring it to another level. That means they did what I thought they were going to do, which makes me happy because they did what I wanted them to do. Call it controlling, call it whatever you want. But they did what I wanted them to do. Sorry, I have a little bit of OCD, all right? But I really, really know. But I honestly think the opposite happens mostly, where it's like, for the most part, where like they'll send back the song and I'm like, yo, this is your best song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is your best work.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to be a part of it, you know?
Do you have that as an MC? Because you don't just rap over your own beats, clearly. I mean, the reason we're talking right now is Element 57.
It's Element, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are there certain beats or producers that bring something out of you that you yourself cannot bring?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I wouldn't say that I can't bring it out, but this might sound selfish or some shit. It's really not. It's like, it's actually from an opposite of selfish place. It's from like or not opposite. It's from like a insecurity kind of place, maybe. I don't know, but I only fuck with producers that can do what I do emotionally in the production for my solo shit, or for me, I should say, not solo. I produce all my own solo shit now, but like for these kind of collaborative things where I'm on the mic, it has to. I didn't realize it till you just said this. Like my man Love Jones, LUVJONEZ. He's part of the 57 Collective. He's based in Portland. He's a crazy producer, really good guy, good friend for a long time. And he, I don't know how or why, but like every time he sends me beats, I just love them to write to. Like it doesn't happen that way with anybody. Like honestly, like it could be somebody crazy, and I don't even want to say a name because then somebody could take it and twist it. But like insert crazy producer here who can only make fire beats. If they sent me a pack, I would probably at least pick one to show that I could do it, even if it doesn't call my name, even if it's not screaming out to me, just to challenge myself that I could do it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But I don't know, like everybody's different, but for me, it takes a lot, man. It takes a lot to grab me. And it doesn't mean that the beat's not good. I get packs sent to me where I'm like, I love every beat you sent, but I don't even want to hear myself on it. I don't even want to hear, I know my voice. I know how that sounds. Where it's not a deep voice, it's not too high, it's in that little mid-grade, you know, I need certain production for that. Like I have a joint with Sky Zoo. I have a lot of joints with Sky Zoo coming out, but I have one where I was like, and shouts to him, that's my bro. Like I have this one joint where it's just me and him, and I was so worried about the mix down, and I had to hit up Audible Doctor on the phone a month ago, and I was like, man, like Sky's voice is just so dope. Like Sky Zoo is just an incredible fucking MC and writer. But then he also has a voice that he knows how to cater to. And in my voice, I know how to make it sound dope. It's not naturally dope. I know that. At least I'm aware of it. So it's like, we're going back and forth on the song. And I'm like, dude, maybe I should get somebody else to mix it because he's just sounding so much better. And then Audible goes, you sound good. But he just sounds so fucking good. He goes, I'm going to keep it real with you. The beat is good, but it's a Sky Zoo beat. It's not a J57 beat. You went into his world with this, and that's why he danced all over the fucking thing. And you had to like rewrite your shit 3 times to kind of get on his level. And you still don't like how you sound on it fully. I like how I sound. I don't love it. I love how he sounds. Get what I mean?
You need that outside perspective.
Yeah, it's everyone. Yeah, and I'm like, I haven't had that problem in so long where I don't like how I sound on a beat. And he goes, because you keep picking beats that you really do know you sound good on, and you catered to him because you know he likes horns, you know he likes jazz, and you went and fucking did all that thing that he likes.
So but is it like the instruments or or is it like the key? I think my sort of G minor I think is my key. Like that's
good to know.
Like there's a lot of times so it's not sort of. I sit behind the keyboard or whatever, behind the piano, and I write, and it doesn't match. Oh yeah, damn it, same fucking chord progressions again. This works.
That's awesome.
What? Yeah. Do you know what it is? Like, can you sort of? Is it just like you just know it, or is it like, oh no, horns? Oh no, not horns, not for me.
That's mad funny.
You're like, I love this song. I love this beat. I'm gonna rap. Oh, horns. Fuck it. Yeah.
You just fucked up my mind. I hear like a sad West Coast record called G minor now. Like,
That's actually dope.
I can imagine it like a
minor,
very
it's like a-
dramatic. Sorry.
It's like an early 90s rapper named G Minor from the West Coast. Like, you know what's funny, dude? I sound really good in C minor, but it's not my thing. Like how you're saying G minor is like so your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I do sound really good in C minor. It just works with the octave of my voice, the actual natural voice, and I know how to use it to that.
Yeah, because you don't have to strain your voice in a way. It's like
Exactly.
I remember there's an interview of Rakim that I used for my research on flow and how pitch and rhythm and stuff is used in
That's
rapping.
the best one for that. Yeah.
And it's Rakim he grew up as a musician, right? Like playing instruments. And then people told him, "Yo, why are you doing that?" And he's like, "What? Why are you matching the key of the beat with your rapping?" And he's like, "Ain't I supposed to do that?" You know, but like nobody
Genius.
does that, right? Nobody does that. Not many rappers do that. So like
Outside of the auto-tune shit, it's really rare when they do that, though.
exactly.
You're right.
And this is why
It's
like
rare.
this is why sometimes like why we can do remixes and the key doesn't necessarily have to match. But you cannot really do that with an acapella for Rakim because it's not going to be in key.
So good.
Right.
Nope.
But it's like,
Right.
but what you were saying with what was a C minor?
Yeah, it sounds really good in C
that's
minor.
where you don't have to strain your voice. That you can sort of just be natural with it, be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then when you're comfortable in that position, you can sort of play around more with the other stuff, I think, with the other dimensions of your voice. If you don't have to sort of so maybe that's it.
You know, for me, the C minor thing is cool, but I always notice it after. I never notice it during the process ever. It's actually never happened. It's always been where I go back and I use an app called Mixed in Key, which I highly recommend people getting. It's only $50, and I throw everything in there. It gives you the tempo, it gives you the key of the song. You just throw an MP3 in there. It'll come back saying 90 BPM, fucking C minor, whatever. You know, sometimes it's wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
That's actually a fact. Sometimes it's wrong, but it is worth having
for
because a lot of
DJs
times
too.
it's right. So afterwards, I'll go back and check it out. Or if I'm doing shit where I'm playing stuff, then it's like I don't actually know what the fuck I'm playing. I never learned any of that stuff, so I don't know I couldn't play C minor. If you put a gun to my head, I'd die. Gun to my head, I would die if you told me to play C minor. I don't know what that is on keys, but I know it vocally, and it just happens to be in my register or whatever the fuck it's called. But like with the Sky Zoo thing, dude, I don't know what that one is, but it's a good example.
But it's not
because
C minor.
I didn't realize it. I was just catering to his shit. Like I was trying to do what he does.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't do that. But the song is really good. We shot a video for it. The song is really good. It's going to come out next year. It's going to be awesome. I'm not discrediting the fucking song. I hope it doesn't come out sound like that. But I'm just saying, like, I'm aware that I'm in his world with that song.
Yeah.
And like you were saying with picking out beats, that shit wasn't my world. Like if somebody sent me that beat, I would have never picked it. I really just wanted to have him on the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were already working on his album and he's over every day or whatever. I'm like, hey, you want to get on something? He's always like, I keep telling you, I got you. Like, what can I jump on? So I'm like, all right, I got this one that you would like without thinking, how am I going to sound on it?
Yeah.
Like, that's something I have to be more conscious of. You know what I mean? Like but I got lucky, dude. I got other songs with other features like Blue. Me and Blue have a bunch of joints
What?
on my shit.
Oh,
I did like,
Whoa. Last time you dropped Homeboy Sandman on me. Now you're going to talk about Blue?
yeah, Blue. Oh, I got a lot of shit with Blue coming out this year and next year for sure. And probably the year after that. We have I did like 5 joints for his next album, beat wise.
James.
He did probably 6 verses for me.
What are you trying to do?
shit.
Just take over our entire playlist for the radio show? Like we already
bad.
play a lot of Sky Zoo and Blue, and now it's J57. And now it turns out that all those people are.
Yeah, we're all working on a lot of shit together.
He's actually one of the nicest guys I've ever had here perform. Like, he was here with Axel, Choosy, Pistol McFly. Like, we had such a blast, and he's one of the nicest guys ever. Like, I had such a blast with him. So, it's
That's my
amazing.
83, bro.
It's
That's my
amazing
83
to
bro
hear
right there.
that you guys are working.
And it makes sense.
Yeah,
too.
like
it really
he's
makes sense.
Oh, he's just the best dude ever, man. I love that dude. And like I was saying, right? He's one of the best lyricists, in my opinion, of all time. He really is, in my opinion. And I'm on a track with him, right? It didn't occur to me that I got to think about the beat, right? Like that. I was just like, oh, he would sound good on this. Again, not thinking, how would I sound? I got lucky on this one. I sound fucking, it's my world, baby. It's my world. It's my tempo. We're even on the shit. I didn't get killed on my own shit by him, even though, like, he kind of could do that in his sleep because he's that good. But, like, it's only because the beat is my world and he adapted to my world. So now we made a great song. I think me and Skies do have a great song on that song that's coming out, but it's his world. His fans are going to eat that shit up. They're going to love that because it sounds like it's Sky Zoo song. And at the end of the day, the blue song sounds like a J57 song. You get what I mean? But they could live on the same project cohesively.
That's dope. So I can just imagine you like you're looking at the camera right now, like over here behind your camera. I can imagine there being like a whiteboard with all these fucking release dates and like projects you're working on because you were talking about like, next year. Well,
there's 10 of these scattered around
No.
the floor. 10 of them. This is just one project.
Shit.
These are all solo, vocally, self-produced project.
Shit.
There's 10 of those around the floor, and I have 4 solo projects, self-produced, that are mixed and mastered, artwork done, music videos are done, all that shit. So like, the whiteboard, I used to do that in Brooklyn, like the Brooklyn old studio used to do that shit. But now I don't do that anymore because there's too much going on. I have to like, I'll be like, what am I working on today? Oh, this project? Cool. What do I gotta do? Oh, I gotta just do one verse for this song and then I'm done with this project. 9 songs? Cool, let's get it. Like that's the motivation because you see it. If you don't see it, it's harder. It's daunting, dude. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just method shit, man. It's just method to my madness kind of stuff. That's all it is, you know. Dedication, discipline, and strategy. You know, preparation, the whole 9.
It's funny to see like we called you to record a little piece for the radio show, and we still have to get to that part to talk about Element 57.
70 minutes later.
But there are
so
like
fun.
Since
Should we save this for later then?
I hope we're not asking too much of you, but I got like 2 more questions I really needed to ask right now. We're probably going to talk to you again soon, but I need to get these 2 out. First off, let's hit a different direction and then go back to something we spoke about earlier.
Okay.
What is the 57 Collective? What is it? Because it's I've been seeing it on Instagram. I see a lot of dope artists related to it. And like I can figure it out myself. I can read up on some things, but I want to hear it from the man himself.
How would you describe what the 57 Collective is?
Exactly.
I appreciate it. All right, so it is a collective and a label. The label's on hiatus. The only stuff I'm releasing is stuff that I'm a part of, like Element 57 and shit like that. Like that's the only stuff I'm gonna drop on there. Mainly, you know, I told all the guys and gals that are part of the label and shit. I told them, I was like, yo, I don't want to half-ass anything that we release on the label, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to work on my shit for a while. I need to do solo stuff. Like I need to. I've never done that. It's always been this person before me, Brown Bag before me, Jamo Gang before me. I've never put myself in the driver's seat and only worked on my own shit in 20-something years of rapping. Never. Until literally a year and change ago. So it's like, I got to do this. Got to put the label on hiatus. Got some really good advice from some people about that. And as well. I don't want to name names because it'll come off name droppy, but some people were very successful at doing the MC artist label owner thing that are big homies to me that gave me some good advice. And I was like, yeah, that is smart. Have my shit pop, then the label pop after. I get it. So that's what I had to do with that. So it is still a label,
sort
but
of
it is
the 50
really,
Cent G Unit sort of method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's exactly that. And so right now it's just a collective. Like it's people that I think are dope at music and other things. Like there's breakers in there, there's photographers in there, there's radio show hosts in there. I would love to have you guys be a part of it as musicians and with your show and stuff. And what we do is we just kind of promote each other, or at very least, I have a dope team that run the socials, and it's like we're reposting the stuff on our shit. Once in a blue moon, you'll see me pop into the socials and repost stuff that I'm catching. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I just got to keep my head clear and just be off the socials and be in here, mentally and do all that. But it is a collective. It's just homies, man. Like ranging from my homegirl Tiffany Topol, who's a crazy singer and producer. She could just make beats if she wanted to. That's the funny part. She's dope and great songwriter. Ranging from her to I don't know, fucking Why Not, who, he was a part of Rocksteady. He was the VP of Rocksteady, and he's just one of the best breaker boys on the planet. He's seriously one of the best. And he's now making beats, so he is now a musician. But when he got involved in the collective, he wasn't really making beats yet. So he was just a B-boy, but he was a part of the crew.
Yeah.
I made beats with him before that. Like he would come to the spot, we'd make beats, but he wasn't really a producer yet. But like, you get what I'm saying? And then there's D Catalano, who's a producer and a photographer, but like, it's just all over the place like that. It's just people that inspire me. You know what I mean? And that's what it started as. And then the label happened by accident because I tweeted that I'm starting a collective. And it really just consists of people that I think are dope at what they do. And it inspires me, whether it's a photograph I see and it makes me want to make music somehow, which is a thing, or whatever. And my man, Riley Wallace, who wasn't my friend yet, I didn't know him. He saw that shit on Twitter and he wrote a whole article in Hip Hop DX and he thought it was a label that I was going to create. And I had no plan of making a label at all. There was, like, it was 0% a plan.
You were sort of peer pressured into a label. That's
like, you know what it was, dude? It was like kind of that, but it was also like, it was most like these opportunities came because of the Hip Hop DX article that didn't come before.
Yeah.
So Riley thought I was saying it was a label. I was just saying, hey, I got 40 friends I think are dope at things. They don't know each other. Let's all be friends, work together or not, you know? And he fucking thought it was a label. Made that article. My phone blew up. I'm in the studio with somebody, with my boy Joe Rogers, the Grand Concourse. And he's like, why does your phone keep blowing up? I'm like, bro, sometimes it's like that. I'm like, but this is extra. This is extra. And I'm looking and everyone's like, yo, you're not having me be a part of your label? That's fucked up. What the fuck? I thought we were friends. I'm like,
what label?
What? I'm like, I got beef? I got beef now? And I had to go like hit everyone up. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. They're like, yeah, an article came out on DX.
Yeah, sure, you don't know.
Dude, the article was out for 2 days before I even knew it was out because I wasn't on social media. I was in the studio with somebody for fucking 4 days straight. So I had no idea. On one of the biggest hip hop fucking outlets, did a big article about little old me. I had no clue.
Hip Hop DX. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool fucking look. And so I hit up Riley and I was like, dude, thank you. And we became friends from that. I'm like, thank you. I didn't plan on making a label, but now that you said that, my inbox is flooded. Like there was a major label that offered distribution, Soul Spasm offered distribution, and a couple others too.
Yeah.
And I checked out the contracts with my team, and I was like, we're going Soul Spasm.
Yeah.
Like I want to own my masters. I want my team. I want the people I put out to own their masters. I don't own their shit. You guys could put out a record on my shit, and it could get picked up for a fucking Disney movie, and you get like $50,000 for that shit, and I don't get a cut of it. It's your shit. You own the master. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to me, that's right and that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad if you do that with another label. If like somebody signs with a label and they own certain shit and over X amount of time, it's not bad. But I'm independent for a reason.
Well,
man.
I think if you
can,
you have a choice to sort of you look at the record industry and you see sort of this diseased system, you could say, and you have a choice to perpetuate that system or to like break the chain and go another route. And I guess it's admirable that you're picking that, that you're not getting the 30% or 20% from that 50,000 Disney deal, hypothetically, you know? So like, yeah.
I mean, if somebody wants to break me off and they're like, hey Jay, let me give you a little 5% for that, I'm not going to stop them. but like, I swear to God, I wouldn't care if they didn't. I wouldn't be like, oh, that's fucked up. Like, I really wouldn't care, man. Cause it's all you get what I'm saying? But I appreciate you saying that, man. It's like, it's just what I want to do. I sleep better at night knowing that I'm not fucking anybody over, you know, like,
that's
I'm
good.
treating everybody how I want to be treated. That's just how I do shit, really. So
that's good.
That's all it is, man. Like, you know, I've evolved as a human. I've progressed. I've become a better person over time and whatever else. And it's like every year, I did a lot of great stuff during the pandemic to evolve as a person too, and learn about myself and things and whatever. And I'm glad that I do what I do with this shit, man. Because I'm trying to give people a platform that don't have one. You know, and that's why I had to be on hiatus though for a bit because I put a lot of energy into a lot of people, and that's great. And I'm grateful that I had that opportunity, and I don't regret it in the slightest. It was a beautiful thing, but I need to do me for a little bit so that I can do more for other people later. You know,
this is the hard part because I think like this is a perfect way like to end this part of the conversation, but I'm just gonna fucking do it. I promise. Like I already put it out there. Like I got two more things, and one of them is gonna take it back to something we were talking about earlier. Okay, and now I'm like, it doesn't matter. No, but I really do want to know. You keep mentioning that you worked at Fat Beats, and we cannot just skip over that part. Like oh yeah, it's cool. He worked at Fat Beats, but let's not bug him about it. Like, what was that like? Fat Beats is like such a big thing for like, Tell us about it. Like, what era was it? Like, can you name some of the major records that came out when you just started there, and what you were seeing?
I can name everything. Anything you ask me, I remember all that shit. I have so much stuff documented too. And like, yeah, so I started interning September 2004, and I got hired May 2005, and I worked there until the store closed September 4th or 5th, 2010. And man, it changed my life. It changed my life. No matter what I go on to do, that shit would not happen if that shit didn't happen. You get what I mean? It wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for it. And aside from my music and my career and all that shit, fuck all that for a second. Just that experience. Say I didn't make music and I'm just a hip hop head that just wants to be there. God damn, I could have died happy after that. You know what I mean? Like, I met fucking Kool Herc at the store. I met Premier. I met Eminem. The list goes, and I got to talk to them.
Whoa.
All three of those people, I got to talk to them. It wasn't like, oh, it'll be $20.99 or whatever. Like, debit card, cool. It was like, I talked about hip hop with Eminem. I met the guy who created hip hop, Kool Herc. I became friends with Premier, not from Fat Beats, but he knew who I was from that shit. Like, that, if that doesn't sum up my experience there, and let's also go to this. I was a diehard nonfiction fan, still am, for years before I became friends with Eclipse, who became like the big homie to me. Like, let's not even like skip the obvious. Like, Eclipse is an integral part of my existence, man. Like, with this music shit, as a man, he taught me a lot about work ethic, whether he knows it or not. So I hope he checks this and knows that. But Eclipse taught me about work ethic, dude. He whipped me into shape at that store, man. Like, I was on point, and that's why I could get the job, because there's people who were interns the whole time that never got hired. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's okay. But I outworked everybody. I was there early. I stayed late. I fucking killed it while I was there. I went in, and this is 2004 to 2010. So 04 to 07 was like the heyday of Fat Beats. It was starting to dwindle because of downloading and all that shit, as we all know. 07 was kind of when that really got crazy. But like, and I don't know about for the store, but I mean in the world. But like, it was still a part of the heyday, even in 04, man. Like, we're talking like hundreds of people all day, every day coming in over the course of the day, like making so much money in a day. Like, not me, but the store making so much money in a day. It was like, not me at all. But no, like, I was so broke back then. But like, it was depressing. But like, what's it called? That's why I'm in therapy, guys. No. Like, real talk though, like, yeah, like Eclipse, man. Like, I got to become cool with Ill Bill and Sobach and Gore-Tex. Like, dude, that's some cool shit, man. This is just tip of the iceberg stuff. It was dope to become friends with people who I listened to. It was dope to become friends with archetypes in this music shit. And it's also dope to meet other hip hop heads. Like, because I moved to Brooklyn in 06. I'm born and raised on Long Island. You know what I mean? So, and that's a 45-minute drive. That's an hour train ride, you know, so I would commute for a couple of years. And I was finishing college at the time on Long Island, so I kind of had to do it. You know, I couldn't really go back and forth like that. But man, like, being on Long Island was awesome and all that shit. No matter what you hear about the island, there's almost two different worlds on there. There's the world that people want to talk shit about, and there's the one that I was a part of, which was like woke ass people, whatever, like normal people that love and care for other people and whatever. But like, you don't really have there was the Cop Shop, which was like the Fat Beats of Long Island that my man Eddie Eder, you know, had. And it was so cool. And I got to meet Esoteric at the Cop Shop, and Cage and Mr. Eon and fucking Destroy and Q-Unique. Like, all these people I met at the Cop Shop. Didn't become friends with them. Only Esoteric I became cool with from that. But then later on I went to Fat Beats, and I got to actually like meet people like all the time, and other customers that I pretty much was still a customer even though I was interning and working. It was like a really dope experience, and like, it just, I don't know, man, it was like the best fucking feeling, like, just to be involved in it. I was so scared. I was like, I'm from Long Island. I got to know more about EPMD. I need to know more about this. Like, all these things, like, before I go there and get quizzed on it. Like, that's how I was thinking. You know what I mean? And those things are real. That kind of shit did happen.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, like it's like you said, you would be there on time, stay late. But I can imagine it's not because of you trying to be the best version of you that you can be, but you really wanted to be there. Like, I saw all the footage from everything that happened there, but I've only been to the Fat Beats that was here in Amsterdam. And
Yeah.
that for me was like a 2-hour train ride, and I would like literally go there just to go to Fat Beats, buy
dope.
records, and take the train home again. Like I would take that ride like I would just do it because I wanted to go to Fat Beats, but it looked amazing. There was a certain vibe hanging in that space. And whenever I see like small YouTube clips from like all the other locations, I get the same feel. It was like, it's hard to explain. Like the shutters
I know what you mean.
open. And the way records were on the walls, like I think it was the same thing you guys had, like the black fucking steel wire things.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the
Yep.
the little, oh my god, and it would be stacks in there, and then they had a little basement. You go downstairs and you couldn't, like your head would be here, and then the ceiling would be here.
Oh, that's what it was like there?
Yeah, that was downstairs, and that would be like a DJ playing there, and then all the way in the back I found the MF Doom stack, and I was like, holy shit, they got everything. They got the old 12 inches and everything, and I would go insane over there. And then you go
that's
upstairs
dope.
again and see everything on the wall. It really felt like a place you wanted to be at. You can just feel the energy coming off all the fucking records there, like the vinyl, the
Bro, you
cardboard covers, the stickers everywhere. Like,
You do. Like,
It's
there were
unique.
Saturdays. I worked on Fridays and Sundays, and I think Friday might have been the busiest day of the week. I don't actually know that for a fact, but I feel like it probably was because people get off work, and days we would get, because back then albums came out on Tuesdays still, so we would get shit early on Fridays. We would actually somehow get it on Fridays. I guess Eclipse had the plug, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we would get a lot of albums early, and so people would come rushing in. But I remember there being some Saturdays where like I would come in. I remember the Food album came out, and I was an intern at the time, and I came in from LI. I had a meeting with somebody. This dude was bringing me in to be like a marketing guy. I was going to college for marketing and, communications and things like that. And he brought me in to do marketing for his clothing company called Dirty Waters. And I was there, and I was like, I'm going to stop by Fat Beats after this meeting. Cool. And there was a line down the block for Food. Down the block, dude. I was like, what the fuck is going on? They're like, oh, we got Food early. It comes out on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. It just came in this morning. I was like, what?
Shit.
And like that's real for a CD. You know what I mean? Like for a CD in real time. Like you're literally probably never gonna see that again. Kind of, which is sad, but like that's the shit I saw. Dude, I used to sleep at Fat Beats. Like when I was living on Long Island, and I would commute. Like I would work until 9:00 at night on a Friday.
Yeah.
And there was honestly and then I go to Chung King Studios, which is not around anymore, but Chung King is like one of the most legendary music studios ever in music, not even just hip hop, but so many classic hip hops from Illmatic to whatever. So many hip hop albums came from it.
Yeah.
They did Illmatic there and all this other shit. And my boy DJ Goo, early brown bag, pioneer.
Yeah.
He was a pioneer of that shit. That man fucking was in there like with Lil Wayne for a whole summer recording him. Nas doing the I guess the Untitled album or the N, whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff, right? So me and Goo, I would work till 9. I would go to Varick Street, which is like 10-minute, 20-minute walk from Fat Beats, because I didn't have the $2 for the subway to go there. And I would walk there. He'd be done with his session. He's like, "Yo, Jim Jones is gonna leave in an hour, so we'll have the red room where they did Illmatic, by the way. That's the room. We'll have the red room. We can make beats in there." So you plug in his MPC, and we're making beats on those big monitors. I'm getting in the booth that Nas did Illmatic in. I'm recording verses, and we'd crash on the couches. And then on Saturday, we would chill around the city. Like I'd sometimes hang out with friends, whatever, go to Fat Beats, whatever, go to studios. And then on Sunday, I would have Fat Beats. So on Saturday night, I would sleep at Fat Beats in the DJ booth on the plywood floor. I would sleep on that shit. And I know it sounds gross, but I have to have like deodorant and like shit like that with me, like use someone's shower and stuff like that. But I did that a lot. I didn't do it all the time, but I did it a lot. Like before I moved to Brooklyn, you know what I mean? And it was really cool to wake up kind of hungover and look and just see like the hip hop posters on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And they're autographed by legends. They're not like just posters. They're like, it's like a fucking whatever, whoever you could think of.
Yeah.
They signed it. Like they were here. You know what I mean? Like there's a Gangstar poster and it's Guru and that's crazy. You know what I mean? So I was grateful. It was before I realized how grateful I was, but I was like really excited to be there all the time, man.
So if there is one record from that era when you were working there that's your favorite, or maybe a record that sparks memories like that when you just put the needle to the groove and it's like, it takes you back to that place. What record is
there's
it?
so many. Yeah, there's so many. There's like, mainly when I was an intern. Well, Mad Villainy, I was working there by then when I got into it. I got into it a little late. I want to say 05 is when I got into Mad Villainy. It wasn't like, I just didn't hear it before that. You know, I know it would have come out 03 or some shit. That's when I heard it and I was like, whoa, like fucking. So that'll always bring me back to 05. But when I was an intern in late 04, there was a few singles. There was One Below. This is all Fat Beat stuff.
Yeah.
So when you're an intern at the store, you had to like be on I'm not a DJ, but I had to be on the turntables and say you guys came in, you bring over like 3 or 4 records, not that many, but like 2 or 3 or 4. You're like, hey, can I hear these?
Yeah.
And if they're open, we wouldn't open them for people. If they're open, we could play them, or we'd have the store copies in the DJ section. And One Below, whatever the single was from that album that Fat Beats put out in 04. I don't remember. Yeah. Yep. That's the one.
Yeah, like Fat Beats, Amsterdam. Like, yeah, I grabbed my phone because I was like, I need to see the cover. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, that's the one. And so it was J-Zone. I don't remember the name of the album. I'm sure it's a hilarious album. He's got like Pimps Don't Pay Taxes, or he's got like all these great album titles. But like a J-Zone album where he's like on a roof in like a coat and he's got like a drink or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But that shit, when I hear that, it always brings me back. And I remember being so thirsty, like literally thirsty, and I didn't have the balls to ask if I could go downstairs to buy a drink because I wanted to still I wanted to be the guy. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to be annoying. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I wanted them to be like, who is this kid? He works his ass off. I remember seeing him holding the drink and like literally being so thirsty and being like, fuck, I wish I had that drink, but I got to do this. I got to fucking earn my stripes here. You know what I mean? So I see that cover. It makes me think of that psychotic ass fucking grind that I was on. And then like some psycho shit. And fucking, what else, man? Fuck, there's so many, dude. Oh, Super, MF Doom. Was that Hoe Cakes? Is that what that's called?
Yeah, Hoe Cakes.
Yeah,
I got this girl and she wants me to do her. I told her I'd come scoop around there. She said, Super.
Like, I had to fucking play that for so many people. I'll never forget. I'd be like, this shit is fire. Oh, Rock Flow.
Yeah.
That came out in what, was that 04? And like that, we had that single and we used to rock that shit, man. We used to blast that.
The thing about Hoe Cakes is that got me into Anita Baker. Like, I don't want to sample snitch, but that's the one, and I've been talking about it like a lot of times.
Yo, well, I know where he got the sample, how he got it. He was at the homie DJ John Doe's crib, and Doom saw the record and goes, yo, can you dub me that? Or give me that? Or I think he gave him the record. He gave him the record that was used for that shit.
Wow.
It's not my story to tell, but it came up in context, so I feel like people want to know that. That is how he got the record, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, but I heard a lot of stories like from Babito in podcasts and shit. He was talking about it, like how Doom would go to certain people, like even Babito, to get like certain records because he would know like someone got that record and he would be like, can I use that one because I need to make this and this beat? Like, so it makes perfect sense.
What a genius, man. Yeah. That's so dope. Oh, they just did did you see the street sign, the MF Doom, the KMD MF Doom way?
Yeah.
That's on Long Island. That's Long Beach, Long Island. That's where Doom and his brother were from and stuff. And that's so cool. That's so cool that he had that did that for them, dude. That's like beautiful. You know what I mean? Speaking of Doom.
It's a weird thing. Like when I was younger, you would like really hold on to certain artists and certain movies that were like important to you, and you didn't want them to become more famous or whatever. But today I was having dinner with my little brother, and it's really fun to me. Like I'm gonna get a tattoo in February, and I want the MF Doom mask, and I showed the photograph because his mom, my dad's new wife, was asking like, oh, what you gonna get? And I was like, well, I'm gonna get this. And I showed the picture, and my little brother was like, yeah, MF Doom, because he started following MF Doom because of me and everything. And my dad was like, oh yeah, there's the MF Doom mask, and it's so beautiful. Like back in the days, I wanted to keep everything to myself, but it's so beautiful to see how many people are up on everything that Doom did. Like when the news came out, it was like New Year's Eve for us, and to see all these Dutch media outlets that have nothing to do with underground hip hop or whatever the fuck talk about Doom was such a beautiful thing, and that transcends like so many things, because back in the days, Doom was my thing. Like I didn't like anybody else rocking a Doom shirt because it would be like, no, that's my jam, and it's beautiful how big it became, and that he has his own street now. Like, yeah, that shit puts a smile on my face.
Hell yeah, dude! I love that you said that it was your thing, because getting back to my boy Ports, the one that passed away back when we were in high school, he's the one who put us onto all the underground shit. Like, I knew like Mobb Deep and Grave Diggers. I didn't know the underground shit. I knew like the stuff you had to dig for the commercial but good hip hop at the time, you know, in the mid '90s, late '90s, really. And like really late '90s, like '98ish. And he put us onto a lot of shit, but he would always have one stipulation: you can't show people this stuff. So he put me on a Mood. Remember Mood? He put us onto Mood, and he like let me borrow the CD or some shit, like dub a tape of it or whatever the fuck. And he's like, you can't show anybody this shit though. And like you get where he was coming from, right? And I showed my one friend Derek Smith, who Porce didn't know at the time. Shouts to Derek. I showed Derek, and then one day Derek had the tape, and Porce is like, "Where'd you get this tape?" And he goes, "Oh, I got it from Jimmy." And he's like,
"God damn it, Derek!"
okay. And he came and checked me on it. He's like, "So you showed Derek Smith Mood, huh?" I'm like, "Come on, man, you gotta get the music out there, though." And he's like, "All right, I won't show you anything else." And I talked him into keep showing me like more music. Like, he put me on Adele, like all my favorite shit, dude, like Big L, like all that kind of stuff. But like that, but think about the mentality in the late '90s and shit like that, dude. Or even just when you're younger. It's just even when you're younger. It's like, do you want them to be like copyright said, your own personal private artist? Copyright said the song June.
Yeah,
well,
nailed it.
To take it back to the new metal era. My first girlfriend, I played her Orgy's Candy Ass, and I was like, don't share this with anyone, because that was my record back in the days. Like you were saying, like, well, you might laugh about Korn and Limp Bizkit and Deftones. No, Orgy was like the next level thing. Like, you don't tell people you love Orgy.
No,
like,
you don't,
isn't that the band that did Blue Monday cover? Like, yeah, that's the band. And I loved Candy Ass, but I didn't want to share it with anyone except my first girlfriend. And I was like, please keep this to yourself.
Dude, I respect it. Yo, but like, they were good. They were actually good. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I love it, bro. I love it, man. I want to come out there and just chill with you guys, bro. We could like do this all day.
Oh man, you know? I can't believe we haven't asked you what you talked to Eminem about with. Like how did we not?
Oh,
I saw you getting triggered, and I was like, I'm not gonna go with this.
But I'm thinking, like. Maybe this is like a recurring segment that we do, like story time with James or something, and that you should like, that we every once in a while like we get you on the podcast and we get another gem, because this is I don't.
So what you're saying is we're gonna keep this one.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this one.
We're gonna use the J57 way of working.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it in the vault. We're gonna keep it in the vault for a sec.
That's my life right there, baby. Let's get it, dude. We could do this anytime, even if we're just we could do that, bro. I have a list of stories that I have to tell. Like, I have to write a book. I have to write a book.
Dit is een podcast van Kink. Voor meer podcasts, playlists en radio, check kink.nl.